Come on, let's offend some more people.
Buenos dias, mon friends, and welcome to another edition of Is It Shit with me, Dan Vincent, and him, Sean Peters. Today we're going to look at a shockingly
What's the stereo EQ?
Not a bus compressor.
Not a bus compressor this time. Chill out.
All right, it's all right. Sorry.
Down. It's getting a bit hot in here.
It is, yeah. Okay, so take us through it. What we're looking at.
So this is the Noiseash Need 533. The nice people at Noiseash, we've looked at a couple of their plugins before, and they basically sent us a bunch more to look at. And this is based on the Rupert Neve Portico 5033, which is a nice little rack mountable EQ thing. And it's the Portico range is beautiful. It's so well spec'd. You see it a lot in mastering studios. It's pretty pricey, but it's got that Rupert Neve, signature of approval on it. So it's a wonderful thing. Obviously, Neve EQ, and this is a plugin which models a stereo pair of these 5033 EQs.
But it's not just an EQ, is it? It's not just a stereo EQ.
No, it's more of a channel. So it's. I mean, the originals are like just EQs. This has been put into a format where it's a stereo channel. It's got their version of TNT, which I must remember what that's called. It's something deviation, something.
Yeah.
But it's a similar thing to the TMT, so it means that every instance can sound like a slightly different one. Gives it more of an analog vibe. But you have been using this.
I have been using this, yeah, and it's an epic sounding plugin, especially on the Master Bus. It's one of those plugins I found you can go way too far with, Sean. We found on a lot of these things we've got the addition of width.
Yes.
Which can be a little confusing for those of us who are not quite as technically minded as those of you.
It causes a lot of problems, and you hear a lot. Well, I hear a lot of mixes where someone has tweaked that width control on everything, every virtual instrument, every bus, everything, and then you get to your master and you do it again, and all that's really doing, it's a mid-side trick. It's basically turning down the mid channel and turning up the outside channels. Normally that's what it's doing. Maybe a high shelf or something like that as well. And that has the effect, especially when mixed with these sort of tolerance deviation systems, whatever they're called, of smearing. It smears your mix. Your mix will sound sort of like amazing all the time you're doing it. It's like, it's getting wider and bigger and lusher, and then you go and listen to it on something normal and it's like,
whoa,
Christ,
yes, no definition.
Ruined. So yeah, my advice, the whole stereo width thing, go easy. Just maybe one or two things, and maybe just on the master bus even, just leave it alone, because it can ruin things, definitely.
Very cool.
But that's not the fault of this. This is beautiful. So you're right, it's a great EQ for the master bus, and yeah, it sounds really nice. You can be quite firm with it, do some big things, and it will sound great. When
you're working with things like this, I mean, it's quite a complex interface, especially when you open it up. It takes a bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
But it comes with a lot of presets. Yes. Do you find that you start with a preset and work away from it?
Yeah.
Or
sometimes.
do you start with a blank slate?
More often than not, I'll start with a blank slate, but sometimes I'll get curious and go through the presets. Yeah. Especially with the mid-side stuff. The mid-side presets I find really, really helpful, because it's quite difficult to think, right, where do I go first? It's very. You quite often think with the mid stuff, right, the mid stuff, so I want all the power, so I'll put in a bit of bottom end there, and then the top, the sides, I'll put some nice airiness, and you can just do that by doing a level change. So that's not really an EQ thing you should be doing. So it's quite good to look at a preset, assuming people that wrote presets knew what they were doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, they do. The presets do sound pretty phenomenal, but in a not necessarily in a productive kind of way.
No, it's just a starting point. What you've got to remember with presets is that they're based on someone else's monitoring system, someone else's setup, someone else's source material. They're never going to be exactly what you want, which is kind of, a lot of people ask us, why don't we do audio demos on this channel? We get a lot of comments about that, and it's because how many compressors have you seen reviewed online where they've used a fully mastered track to test it? Or, maybe they're running through something, who knows what that audio's going through before it's getting to you. It's almost pointless. We advocate 100% get a demo. That's why we moan about demos not being long enough, because demos is the only way to find out if something will work for you. Talking of which, there is a demo, free demo at Noiseash. slightly annoying. It will mute every 30 seconds.
Yeah, okay.
That bugs me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I sussed out pretty quick that this was pretty special. So
Cool. And how much is the full version?
it's $49.90. I think its full price is more than that. You can get it on offer pretty much most of the time for $49.90. But I think for $149, you can get the whole package of all their various Neve-based EQs and everything. So that's
I've
worth
actually
looking
been
at.
using these recently on this gets to Dan Peters' recommendation. I've been using this on mixes recently, and they're phenomenal. Like Sean says, you can go way over the top with them.
Yeah, I think, you know, look, we're spoiled these days. We've got so many different EQs and compressors and everything, and you know, it's hard to know which one do I need, which one's best. There sort of isn't a best one. This one might be brilliant for one piece of music you're mixing, and another one might be better for that. So,
But really interesting looking into the mid-side stuff, I think.
yeah, I think it's quite new to mix engineers. It's something that was the preserve of mastering engineers, but people are starting to mess with it.
Yeah.
You know, as I've said before, go easy. You can really ruin your mix doing the mid-side thing.
Okay, so Sean, in your opinion,
Yeah,
do we need the need?
I think this is pretty special. I think it's if you haven't yet got a decent EQ over your master bus or your drum bus, let's say, this is that kind of thing. I think there's channels which are great for vocals and individual drums and stuff like that, and there's stuff that is suited to doing, you know, a bunch of stuff together, and I think this is in that category for me. It's really nice.
Cool. You need the need. Sean, is it shit?
No, it's not shit at all. It's a lovely plugin.
Check it out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit up.
And notification.
Notification. Sayonara, suckers.